Hi, welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness. I'm Brittany. I'm a health peer educator in the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness.
And I'm Natalie. I'm also a peer health educator at the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness. And so tonight's topic is we are going to talk about healthy and sustainable behaviors so that we can support positive well-being.
So, in the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness, we work to empower the DePaul community to embrace a healthy lifestyle, creating a culture of health and well-being that fosters personal and academic success. We like to focus on holistic wellness, so we often collaborate with other university partners, such as the Office, University Counseling Services, and some other offices to provide education, support, and resources in order to help ensure that we have a healthy DePaul and provide for our community.
So tonight we're going to be focusing on three main things surrounding positive behaviors. So first, we're going to start with the very basics about habits. We're going to be going quite surface level, but just enough so that you kind of understand how habits are formed. And then we're going to go on to talk about how to use what we know about habits to create and sustain healthy behaviors. And then finally, we'll end off with just a few suggestions of healthy behaviors to adopt. And by no means do you have to take our suggestions for healthy behaviors. Some people, some of our suggestions will work very well for. Others may need to think of other behaviors. But we hope that these ideas will start as kind of just a starting point for where to go from there.
So we're going to get into some habits or what habits are really.
Yeah, so just a few things about habits. Habits can be formed intentionally or unintentionally. And this is because human beings, we tend to like to be able to do things very quickly, so that we can spend more of our time doing an action as opposed to thinking about what action we're going to do. So this is why habits are great, because they happen so quickly. Like if you have a habit to pick up your phone in the morning and scroll through social media, you don't typically, if you roll out of bed and you grab your phone, that's just what happens. Your brain is doing the action without so much thinking about it. And another way that habits are formed, whether intentionally or unintentionally, is that habits are formed when you repeat the behavior over a long period of time. So going back to the phone example, maybe one day you do wake up in the morning and check social media on your phone, but then most days you don't. So that's not necessarily a habit. But if you do pick up your phone and check it every single morning, and then it gets to be about 3 months later and your alarm just went off at 8:30, and then you pick up your phone and go to Instagram, without even thinking, then that could be an example of a habit.
So next we're going to focus on how to create and sustain some healthy behaviors.
So knowing just the very bare basics of what we just talked about for habits, it's important to know to be intentional of your behaviors. Again, habits are things that we want to be able to do just like that. So it's easy to be unintentional about certain habits, like picking up your phone right when you wake up. So the more intention you put into your behaviors, the easier it is for you to kind of understand your behaviors. And then once you understand them a bit more, it's a bit easier to challenge them if you want to challenge them. And of course, this goes straight into being mindful about your behaviors. You can always take a couple seconds of every single day to kind of examine some behaviors that you notice throughout the day. So again, going back to the phone, if you do notice that it's in the middle of class and you're kind of zoning out and then you go to pick up your phone, maybe notice yourself doing that and think, is this helpful right now? It might be, it might not be. But the more mindful you are about your behaviors and the intentions behind your behaviors, again, the easier it is to kind of sit back and analyze those behaviors and start thinking about what you would like to change, if you would like to change anything. And then, of course, the final point on this, like we said, habits aren't formed overnight. They aren't formed in a matter of a couple seconds. The way habits are formed is by repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again. So if you want to change the habit of not using your phone in the morning, just every day, just keep trying to find something else when you wake up. Either that's put your phone in a different room and get up and stretch instead. But the more you try to use the behavior that you would like to have, the easier it gets to change your habits over time. And of course, habits are hard to break, so do not get discouraged when trying to change habits or behaviors. It's very hard at first. Again, it's ingrained in how we think. But the more you do it over time, the easier it will get.
So now we're going to provide a list of ideas for healthy habits that you can learn to adopt.
Yeah, and like we said before, do not feel like you need to change everything you're doing to accommodate this list of habits. These habits are great for some people. Other habits and behaviors are great for others. So really do be mindful of what will work for you or what you think you would like to try. So when talking about healthy behaviors, it's always important to acknowledge that there are many different aspects of our health. We have physical health, emotional health, environmental health, social health, even some that aren't listed on this slide. But we're just going through these four main examples. So physical health is probably what you think of when you think health. It's making sure that your body is working properly and that, you're not getting sick too much, things like that. So examples of healthy behaviors is maybe tracking your water intake to make sure that you're properly hydrated. Of course, it's always important to keep your body hydrated. And if you're tracking your water intake, every time you take a sip of water, every time you finish a glass of water, write it down so you know how much you've had that day, if you need to have more or even if you need to have less, and knowing what works for you in that sense as well. So really, if you were to track that over time, eventually you would get a gauge of how much water you need and how easy or hard it is for you to get that into your day. So we also, for physical, we also have things like taking breaks to stretch in between classes. This will help both your body and your mind. And things like creating a night routine so that you're able to train your brain to help you go to sleep on time and help you get a restful sleep. Going on to emotional, this has a lot to do with our mental health. And healthy emotional behaviors can look like a lot of things. A really good idea for a lot of people, and if you think about it, it can be quite simple, is talking to someone about your feelings before they begin to negatively affect you or before they feel like there's too much for you to burden on your own. If you're able to talk to someone, whether it be a best friend or a sibling, for even 5 minutes a day, talking back and forth between you two or even a group of people about either what you're frustrated with, what's going well, anything involving how you're feeling emotionally. This kind of releases the pressure that stress can build up over time. Um, so making a healthy habit of that can be really helpful. You can do something similar with this with journaling if you prefer to write over speaking. Again, just making a habit, whether doing it every night before bed or taking a break at noon every day. And then another example is to take time every day to take part in something creative, whether it's listening to music or drawing or doodling on a notebook while you're also reading. And you'll notice a lot of these are things that you can do structured into your day every single day. That structure will also be helpful in trying to retrain those habits into newer ones. So when it comes to environmental health, that's just things like making sure the area around you is suitable for you, whether it be your room or also even as big as the earth. So something like that could be simply just regularly tidying up your room, making sure everything feels neat. That could be really refreshing and helpful for a lot of people. So maybe that's tidying up your room right when you wake up, or any consistent time for that. And then the final aspect of health that we'll talk about some healthy behaviors for is social. And this can, again, look like a lot of things. One main one that I really want to highlight is setting boundaries and being assertive while sticking to those boundaries. By doing this, you're able to set with people what you feel comfortable with, and hoping that other people are setting boundaries with you as well. You're able to maintain that mutual respect and kind of protect that your social and emotional health, quite honestly. And regularly sticking to your boundaries and being assertive with them will help you, will make it much more likely that those boundaries will be respected. Other things could be like regularly reaching out to friends and family members. That goes into what we were talking about earlier with emotional health and talking about how you feel before your emotions or your situations get too pent up inside and cause too much pressure. And other things could be getting involved with a group or an on-campus activity.
So as always, you can come visit us in the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness. We are on campus in the Lincoln Park Student Center, but most of our programming currently is online. So be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as our website. And then below, you have a list of our directors and people you can get in contact for some other resources. Natalie, do you have any other tips to share about habit formation or habit creation?
I don't think I have any specific ones. Brittany, do you have any in mind?
I have a couple. Mostly focusing on one habit at a time. I know in the past I've fallen prey to like getting really excited about starting new habits, and I've picked up more than I can actually carry out at one time. So just making sure instead of starting 5 new habits at one time, maybe taking one habit and then incorporating that into your daily task. I also think that in taking that one habit, tying it to something that's already a habit is really good. So I had a goal to like incorporate more veggies into my diet. And I think that by tying that into making, like, I write in my vegetables I'm going to put in for my dinner and my weekly menu that I make, that's also really helped me incorporate that habit into my daily lifestyle. And then we talked about repetition and how like it takes time to build habits. So I think really giving yourself 30 days to like focus on your habit that is really like impactful. Habits take time to form, and giving yourself 30 days gives you a nice little window to like get used to doing something. But in that 30 days, make sure to like take baby steps and like create milestones, because if you bite off too much, habits can become overwhelming and then you kind of stray away from them. So like by breaking up a task a little bit, you can really you can really make it manageable. And then setting milestones is also a great way to like keep yourself motivated. It kind of encourages you to like keep going. Once you hit a little milestone, you can kind of celebrate that. I also think that holding yourself accountable is really important when talking about goal setting and habit setting. Um, I know that if I don't hold myself accountable, I won't do things. So in some of my past goals, I've ensured that like I hold myself accountable, whether that be like habit tracking or like telling a friend about my habit or goal, so they can help me stay accountable. So those are just a couple extra tips that I thought I'd throw in there about habits and goal setting.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
It was really nice. We hope to see you again next Wednesday. Have a great night.
Bye.